waiting for some updates from the staff on a couple of matters. We'll deal with this one first, which is the motion, and if we can bring that up, that Councillor Morrissey has proposed. Councillor Sinclair, sorry, and Councillor Morrissey second. My mistake. So if we can bring that up. We need to finalise the vote on this, and then we'll see where we land. Okay, so is there any chance we could make that a bit bigger, please? Those of us with crappy eyesight can read it. Okay. All councillors had a chance to read through that? Okay. All right, I'm going to put the vote. All those in favour? Can I get hands, please, so that we can get clear understanding? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. All those against? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. That's a division. Could we get those noted, please?
That carries with you.
Okay. So I'll vote as casting vote to support that. That is carried. Thank you, team. Appreciate it.
Can I please have my recorded?
Thank you. Aileen, did you have a comment?
Oh, just that we have heard what was said around the table, and we had actually drafted up a point B that you might still consider, which is with basically directing, because I think there's a feeling that there's social service delivery, and it'd be quite useful to completely get that off the table because there isn't. And so what we were suggesting is councillors may direct where this activity might focus, that might make it feel a bit more palatable. So I'm just wondering if we could chuck up that point B that we had drafted.
So Ari's just capturing the decisions around the table, but I can read it out in the meantime if you like. Okay.
Thanks,
so
Kath.
it would be that.
No, they can't input. They can register the chief.
Yes. Okay. So the council would request the chief executive to focus on leveraging more external funding to enable community-led development and enhancing the council's credibility as a community facilitator. Full stop.
So that sounds like a really good pathway through, and I think it addresses some of the concerns that councillors have, and we've heard around the table. So once we bring that up as a second resolution, I'll ask for a mover and a seconder and then open that for discussion, please. Terry? We've got a resolution. This is another resolution. This is an additional resolution. That is staff responding to concerns raised by councillors. Delly?
Don't we get the opportunity to drill down into it a bit more with the annual plan, so that if we leave that resolution that's just passed where it is, we have the opportunity to talk about the quantum of funding at the annual plan, so we don't actually need this one?
That is my understanding, but I don't see why we can't ask the chief executive to explore that external funding option in the meantime, so that when we get to annual plan, there's been some work done on that. Is that a fair assessment?
Oh, look, it's simply an optional thought about how to deal with some of the thinking out there and ensure that there's clarity that it isn't about the service delivery that we're hearing about out there in community. That's all. It's just a suggestion.
So we don't need to do this. It's an option, and it's a response from chief executive and staff to hearing what the councillors' concerns are and what they're saying. We don't need to do it. There isn't a seconder.
I'll second it.
It will lapse.
I'll second it. I think
Right,
that's
so
necessary.
We've got a mover.
Yeah, and I'm happy to speak to it if
I just think this gives more clarity for me that the chief executive is looking for that external funding, and it gives them a strong message that it's not going to be taken from just rates all the way through. So I support this as a great direction for the rest of the good work that we're doing.
Thank you, Terry. Reka and then John Grant, please.
So does this change the rating impact, or is this going to extend our conversation to the financial impact here? No. So we'll revisit that at our annual plan. Okay.
John Grant. And then
I don't support it, and for the reason that this council needs to do its core services, and this area opens up another area which is not part of our core services, so I can't support it.
Thank you, John. Martin?
Yes, I support it. I just wonder from a procedural point of view, does it have to reference that previous resolution? Because it's... Thank you. Sorry.
So Councillor Walker, Councillor Morrissey, if we make an addition in that to reference the original, does that complicate things, Brian and Leslie? No? Okay. Are you happy for that, Councillor Morrissey? All right. Okay. Sorry, Ari, we're putting you under extreme pressure here. Councillor Walker, Councillor Giri-Person, would you like a proposal to reshuffle the seating? This? Are you okay with
But
this?
while we're crafting this, I just wonder the last 3 bullet points in your run sheet: community resilience, heritage sector, and miscellaneous, pages 149 to 151. Staff are not recommending any changes. So just to wrap that up, is there anything from the floor? And if not, then once this resolution is voted on, we'd be moving into our infrastructure area.
Councillors, Martin, anything?
Yes, I would support that. And in the heritage sector bit under page 150, on page 150, it talks about the new policy for grants and partnerships. And I'm very supportive of work being done so that we can actually get some clear long-term strategy and funding for our various heritage facilities around the whole district, because that came across quite strongly in the submissions. And the miscellaneous on 151 has a list of feedback provided that would speak to the community development activity, with staff commentary next to it. And as I mentioned, we've recommended no change. So,
Thanks, Brian. So there's the resolution. If everyone can have a quick read through that. Okay. All right, we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Aye. Aye. Those against? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Recorded. Okay. I'll support that. So that is carried. All right. I'm a little puzzled by that. It's talks about asking the chief executive to leverage external funding. So, okay.
But Mr. Mayor, I gave my rationale for that. I do not see this as a core service of council. When we start these things, where do we actually draw the line and what we provide? So that is why I voted against and will continue to vote against. Very clear message from ratepayers.
Thank you, Councillor Grant.
And I would just like to point out that this is democracy at work.
It absolutely is.
And we should celebrate the fact that democracy is working.
So my only comment in response to Councillor Grant is that many of the activities that this council has undertaken, we did not start them. The storm started them. And the weather events that we as a council and the community have had to deal with, that's what started them. So we have to decide whether we respond or not. So that's where I sit on it. But thank you. I respect the democratic process and the different opinions around the table. Thank you.
Yeah, I just voted it up. So he needs to clearly outline the roles that they will be deferring.
All right. If you're happy, I'll keep the pace.
Yes, thank
pick
you.
up the pace and keep going.
Yeah.
So we're getting into our transport activity and roading in particular. So in your run sheet, we've got, first of all, Totara Valley, page 65. That's just a note. You made a decision at the 30 April meeting that changed the phasing of that project. I understand we don't need a resolution for that. It is just a note because it will change what the CD, what we went out with. We have
It's depreciation, Rika. The 1.3 is outside funded, but it's depreciation.
We can both. Okay. We left something off of the run sheet. Sorry, we omitted to put on the run sheet. We wanted to talk to you about the 17A review, which you discussed and resolved on in public excluded on the 30th of April. There's a note in the report that says we might have some more advice for you, and we have got that now. So I'll leave it to Mo.
Are we, because that was in public excluded, are we safe to do that in the?
the topics that we'll touch on.
Yeah.
are
The
appropriate.
chief executive has given
Okay.
approval to release those resolutions. So
Okay.
we can talk to the resolutions.
Thank you. So where do you want to start, Brian?
No.
Morena, your worship and councillors, with the 17A review report at the last council meeting, council approved the recommendations in that report, which included a number of staffing roles. Given the current financial constraints, we have reviewed those roles and we are recommending that number of those roles be deferred to a future LTP. The only one we are recommending we proceed with is the roading admin role, which is being performed by Pinnacles at the moment. We're planning to bring that in-house and proceed.
Sorry, Mo, which road was that?
Which the roading administrator's role.
Oh, the roading administrator's role.
We recommend we proceed with that and defer the others to a future LTP. And also the establishment of the collaborating steering group, we carry on with that because that's a very good recommendation to bring Makakota into future discussion. So we will carry on with only those two and defer everything else.
Thank you. So what do you need from us?
I think Ari's got some resolutions drafted to revoke the original decision and to replace with 2 new resolutions. So I think you probably need to vote on that.
Thank you.
So I can share my screen.
Yep.
Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is to revoke the following resolution, which included the in-house staffing roles that were proposed for the long-term plan. So this is the resolution that we passed on the 30th of April. I will try, hopefully that works.
So is this a revoke and replace
Correct.
process? Okay.
Yeah. So this is the decision that we will be revoking, so that it has the amounts that would feature for the next few financial years.
Remember those.
And it refers to this table, which just outlines when that will hit.
Okay.
So what we're asking is to replace that with the following budgets. So that is to keep, as Mo has explained, the transportation and the steering group, but to defer the other roles.
So
with an
this
OPEX reduction.
OPEX reduction. So this is.
So I just want to clarify, it won't be necessarily a saving. It wasn't in the budgets that went out for consultation. It would have been an addition. So above that 12.9, it would have been to further push it up from your decision on the 30th of April, after what we heard last week and the staff advice to go and look at how we could reduce. We've deferred that.
Yeah, I'm still looking at it as a saving because otherwise it would have been an addition. Yes.
Okay. Are we all ready to move forward? So let's take the first one first as a resolution to revoke. Could we go back to the wording of that, please? Do we need a mover and a seconder?
Yeah, I'm happy to move.
Thank you, Councillor Grant. Councillor Connell, would you like to second that? Given that there's a saving in there? Okay. All right. All those in favour? Aye. Those against? Awesome. Thank you. Should we go to the next one?
Thank you, Mayor and Councillors.
No, don't get too excited, Mike. We've gotten rid of all that money, but we haven't approved this. So. Thank you, Councillor Walker, Councillor Connell. All right, all those in favour? Aye. Thank you. Well done, team. Any against? No, that's good. Thank you.
Oh,
good work, Mike.
All right, so the next thing on the run sheet is Thornton Bay slip. We've got a resolution in the report at page 56. It's resolution number 6. And this is just to, it's an addition into the CapEx program. We discussed on the 7th of May discussion that this was externally funded. This is the 1.3 million that's coming from government to undertake this work, and so it's just including it into the CapEx program. If there's no, I guess, if there's questions, Mo can answer. Otherwise, we'd go to the resolution.
So, because this is 100%, sorry, this is 100% funded externally. Yeah. Are we? Is this the depreciation element? What are we approving here?
It's the depreciation.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not the 100% funding that's in.
It's just the depreciation.
There is an ongoing depreciation cost.
So forgive me if that's not clearly set out in the resolution. So is it just me, or there's some confusion about the wording of the resolution?
If I can please make a comment, Mayor and Councillors, because the funding is coming from an external source, we still need to recognize that in the LTP. So that's the first step.
Okay.
And then there's the ongoing depreciation. Okay. So it's both.
Do we need to talk about the depreciation in the resolution, or is that just a given that it's part of the process?
It's part of the process.
But we don't need to talk about it? Okay.
No.
I'm happy to be guided by that, councillors.
I just question, how long is that depreciation? Is it eroding, or is it it's a chaining wall? What is it? How long is that asset believed to be?
I need to check the details, Councillor Walker.
Not 100 years or 50 years or something.
I might be able to defer that to Ed. Ed's online. He might be able to answer it.
Paying that depreciation for a long time.
just one moment. What was sort of.
Ed, would you be able to answer the question about the term of the depreciation for the Thornton Bay project?
He can't talk right now. He needs to be made a presenter.
Oh,
Yeah. He's at,
There we go.
maybe he could put it in the chat.
Donna is waving her hand.
There he is.
So,
Put it in the chat, Larry.
Donna.
So through the chair, our depreciation will be over the life of the asset. So it will depend, obviously, how long the asset, what the age of the asset is.
Through the chair, the design life of the asset will be 25 years. The actual life of the asset may well be 50 to 100 years, but depreciation would normally be measured over the design life of the asset, which would be the 25 years.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. All right. We passed that resolution, didn't we? Oh, no, we haven't. Okay. Okay, so can we get a mover and a seconder for, this is on page 56, item 6.
I think Rika moved it before, and I'm happy to second it.
Sorry, who moved it?
Rika put her hand up.
Rika, thank you. You're happy to second it? All those in favour? Those against? Thank you. Awesome. Thanks, Mo.
All right, so in the run sheet, the next few bullet points are starting at 154 and no change, but just the learning from yesterday, I guess, is we could do roading resilience and then community board matters. So roading resilience first, which is page 154. Staff are not recommending any changes. There's a table there. 14 people have provided some feedback. There's staff comments against that.
Okay, councillors, any particular topics that you want raised on this, or shall we just?
I've just got one.
Terry.
On page 162.
If we just,
We're not quite there
if we
yet.
just look at 154 to
Oh, yeah, the
156.
top roading, 154.
Just
Okay.
just roading resilience at this stage.
Okay, all right.
Okay. If there's
No
nothing,
issues.
we'll
Okay.
carry on. Thank you.
Thames matters at 157. Again, staff not recommending any changes.
Thank you. Terry, do you want to just flick that off? Just to avoid confusion. Thank you.
158.
158.
Coromandel Colville. Staff not recommending any changes.
Okay.
159 and 160 Mercury Bay. 8 submissions in that table. Staff are not recommending any changes.
Yep.
161 Tairo Pawanui. 2 pieces of feedback. Staff are not recommending any changes. Staff commentary in the report. And 162 Whangamata. 7 pieces of feedback.
So I'd just like to make commentary to the chair if I can. 2 comments there. First of all, I declare an interest around the Brenton Place because I live in Brenton Place. But that was not a submission I put through. It was done by the locals. But that road's been there 44 years and had no maintenance and paid by the locals and vested to the council. So that was just that issue. I'm not worried about talking about that too much. But I am worried about the Nib Curbling project. It's seen as a beautification project, and I don't agree with that totally. It's more than that. It's a widening of the road. It's allowing access for people to walk up and down it. It's allowing the berms to stay without footpaths so they become soakage. So I would like to think that that has a little bit more meaningful discussion than just a beautification project.
Thank you, Terry. No, I don't believe that we do. I think that this is going to probably be brought up again for the annual plan. And Councillor Walker's, he's made his thoughts really
Okay, so
clear.
that was just a comment and it will be discussed in the annual plan?
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. 163, this was just general other 10 pieces of feedback, staff commentary, and again suggesting no change.
Thank you.
Footpaths, cycleways and streetlights, 164, Thames, 2 pieces of feedback, staff commentary, not recommending any change. Coromandel Colville.
Can I just quickly comment on the cycleways?
Go ahead, Terry.
Is it a
That's
whakatā matter?
Thames. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whakatā matter.
And when we get to one.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, just jump in when we get to the ward if you have anything that you want to raise. Coromandel Colville.
I accept it, Brian, no comment.
Mercury Bay, 3 pieces of feedback.
Brian, do you know, I know that, yeah, you know, government has indicated their priorities in terms of roading investment, and what sort of cycle do they go through in the planning? You know, when may we see an indication that they might change their thinking, or does that change with the government? Yeah.
That's correct. The GPS was issued. The latest version came out a few months ago, but it does change with the level of priorities of each government and their investment plans.
Thank you. Carrying on, Brian.
We didn't get any feedback for TP, so Whangamata 167.
Yeah, so my comment here is not around the nib curb because that'll bring up later. It's around this is cycle trails, and the cycle trail clip-on bridge is not a cycle trail issue. It's a road safety issue. It's only only over the bridge. It's not a trail going anywhere else. It's just getting across that area. So that's why we feel it's in the road, should be in roading and not in cycleways and things like that. So it's just to raise that issue through that particular area.
Can I just get clarity? Is Hetherington Road state highway? 25?
That is local road.
It's local road. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you just noting it, or would you like a response?
Well, I'd like to be noted and see if it can move to a roading project as opposed to a cycle trail project.
As a discussion for the annual plan?
Yeah.
Similar to the last one?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Oh, yes.
Martin?
Yeah, sorry, I just noticed we'd gone past the local specific issues, Taurua Pauanui. And I know it's been raised a number of times, but I don't want it to go away about the footpath from the one-way bridge connecting up. I'm just uncomfortable that there's not really a mention of that in here, and I know we've kind of gone round and round in circles of NZTA and property owners and all that kind of stuff, but I'd really like to see that somehow progressed or progress made on it.
So that was
I don't know how.
that was in the original RLTP with a budget of $10 million to basically double lane that bridge at Graham's Creek, and to 10 million to double lane that bridge and to connect that walkway with Tairua Township as part of that whole project. Now, with the cut in the budget and the change in the budgets for RLTP, I'm not sure what the status of that is now, but I can check on that because I've got the schedule and I can let you know.
And it also, it worries me a bit when that is linked in with a, double, make it two-way bridge. When it's linked in with that, it kind of means that project to do the walkway, the pathway bit kind of just drops out because no one's spending 10 million. So I don't know how we can make sure it stays on the radar, because we've heard really clearly from Tairupawanui that they just aren't happy.
I think that the fact that we're actively engaged in that, well, we were, and we've made our thoughts known in terms of priorities, that committee is now disbanded, and it goes to WRC for final sign-off. I'd have to come back to you on where that landed in the final thing. So, and I'm sorry I don't have it off the top of my head, but I can let you know. Thank you.
Great. So that brings it into the transport section. Before we get into the Three Waters discussion, I'll just hand to Mo. Mo wanted to just make some brief initial comments before we get into that.
Thank you, Brian. Your Worship and the councillors, just would like to make a few introductory comments regarding Three Waters before we get into the discussions. Pull this closer. The next two financial years, 2024 and 2024-25 and 25-26, are very important years in terms of the future of Three Waters, particularly in the light of water reforms. And if we reduce any budgets or defer Three Water capital or OPEX expenditure, it will give a clear message to the central government and any other interested parties that we cannot afford to provide water services by ourselves. And it will signal an indication that we'll probably need to partner with others or find other sources of funding. So that's something I just wanted to make councillors aware of it before you get into the discussions. Although we have provided some options in the deliberation report to spread out funding, the general recommendation is to try and keep the budget as is, at least for the next 2 years until we get over this reform discussion period. Some interesting statistical information to note: we own about $952 million of Three Waters infrastructure, which is close to $1 billion. And on investigations, we're spending about 1% of the asset value over the 10-year period. So it's a very small amount to look after such a large asset portfolio. I'll now hand it back to Brian. Thank you.
Mo, can I just make sure that we've got those numbers clear? It's about 950 million of assets, and we're spending about 1%
on investigations over 10 years.
1% over 10 years on investigations.
Yes. The investigation.
Where's that? Sorry.
The investigation budgets over 10 years is about 9.4 million, and our asset base is 952 million. So it's a very small amount we spend to look after our infrastructure.
Where does that leave us in terms of benchmarking against other councils? Are we below, above, average?
We're right in the right ballpark.
In the light.
Yeah.
Okay. What should we be spending?
Anywhere between 1 to 3 on investigations.
1 to 3%.
Yep.
Okay. So can I just pass on some feedback from the other councils that I've had initial discussions with at mayoral level on potential CCO collaboration on Three Waters? There is a clear expectation that costs in this early stage fall where they lie. In other words, we pay our own costs. Now, how that pans out in terms of the financial modelling and the discussions and our Three Waters working group, don't know yet. It's too early to say. But the initial thing is basically your costs are your responsibility. Because there is no outside funding. Why would they pay for our Three Waters infrastructure? There's collaboration opportunities on contracts and on IT and on other things, and all that's being worked through at the moment. But essentially, it's our responsibility is the general feeling.
There's one more thing I would like to add before Brian jumps in. This will be more of interest to the community. There was a lot of submissions from the community about stormwater and the need to do more work on stormwater. We have increased the proposed capex budget by 70% compared to 2021-31. So 2021-31 value and the 24-34 value, there's a difference of 70%. in the stormwater space, about 10% in water and about 5% in wastewater. So overall, there's an increase in level of spending. So if you average it across the three infrastructure activities, it's about 20% compared to the previous LTP. Those are some high-level numbers just to provide some context. Thanks.
Peter, please.
So those numbers, Mo, is that buying us more, or is that just a reflection of the inflationary costs, etc., of doing what we do?
With stormwater, it is buying us more. With the other two, it's a mix of both.
There's some good graphics in the infrastructure strategy. I think that show that in line graphs and the step change that might be coming in 3 years. So yeah, making sure that our infrastructure strategy aligns to our budget settings, a key thing that we touched on yesterday. And then obviously once we finish these discussions, we'll wrap back around to make sure that you're still consistent with those strategies. So if we move into, I'm just going to change things around very quickly because the final 3 points on your table, so not in the report, your final 3 points on your peach coloured table at the bottom, a part of the advice you ask staff to go away and look at in terms of could we make some operational savings. So currently they're in at that rate. There's some risk that Mo's talked about. I guess like yesterday, a show of hands about whether, and I think we'll take all 3 of them rather than waiting to the next waters, but whether you're happy to leave them as they are or whether you would want to put a resolution on the table to reduce those for some reduction in rates.
Martin, please.
Yes, I mean, just roughly adding those up on the table there, it's about 800,000. You're saying we're currently spending a bit under 1%. So but you're saying ideally it should be 1 to 3%. So it should be maybe 1.5 to 2.5 million instead of the 800. But I just want to hear people's views about potentially reducing this down to significantly under 1%.
So the 1% is an average across 10 years. So if you take that, it's about 950,000. This is 830, so it's in that range. In some other years, it might be slightly higher, but when you average it, it comes to about 1.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably not going to find things in better condition than what we.
Yeah, these were the year 1, just to be clear.
This is only year 1. Yep.
Delhi, please.
I would be very uncomfortable to reduce those sums at all because, as we know, there's a lot of development that people would like to have happen. So we've got current development and future development, and I think not enough attention has been paid previously to whether or not our infrastructure can keep up with that. So I'd like to see these sums remain as they are.
Thanks, Delhi. Terry?
Yeah, I support that, Delhi. I think you've found that the housing is upgrades around the Coromandel are improving all the time, and with that, the expectation that stormwater is going to improve as well. So you'll need that money, and really, you'll have to work hard to even make that work, Mo. So we support that, and I support, these are important. Infrastructure's our key things that the ratepayers are after. So support it.
So just to be clear, that's the three waters that are on the peach table, not just stormwater.
Yeah. Councillor Morrissey, and with apologies for missing you, and then I'm going to put it to a show of hands because the feeling is everyone's supports.
Yeah, I won't waste council's time. Actually, I think everyone's in support of it, and I was going to speak in support of it. So show of hands.
Thank you. All those in support. Thank you. All right.
Just to confirm, that was to keep it the same. No,
keep it the same.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Tortilla Valley, I think I was about to say, am I reading the same line? But there's a roading and a stormwater component, so it's the same as in roading. It's just a note, you made a decision. We don't need a resolution for that. So I guess going through stormwater, starting at page 170, we have Thames. We had one piece of feedback. Staff are not recommending any changes. That's in the report. 171 Mercury Bay. 7 people provided feedback. There's some commentary against that. And after that commentary, the staff are not recommending any change. Taira Pauanui, 3 pieces of feedback. Are we going? All right, Martin.
Yeah, with the Taira Pauanui one, we had a very impassioned gentleman come along and talk about the discharge that's going out into the estuary, and or maybe Terry might like to talk, but it seems to me that's something that I think investigation needs to happen around that.
So I think this, just to be clear, the staff, I might just make sure Mo corrects me if I'm wrong, the staff comment is that investigation has been undertaken.
Correct.
And it's shown that the pollution in the estuary is not coming from the stormwater systems.
But that does mean we still have levels of pollution in the estuary, whether it's coming from stormwater or not.
Regional Council.
I thought he was quite clear.
Yeah, I think there is from time to time. Certainly, it's one of our when we do our safe swimming testing, it spikes. But it's a regional council issue. Dean will speak to it. He's got a lot of knowledge in this space.
Yeah, through the mayor. So it is a known issue. Regional council does have water quality monitoring set up in the summer at Pappy and at the Grahams Creek location. And there is signage that goes up in a relationship between the WDHB, TCDC and WRC to sort of monitor the summer program. Several years ago, there was a study called, well, it was referred to as Who's Poos that was done. And that did have a lot of information on fecal source tracking technology. And Brian's correct that in this location, it's been shown to be from avian sources and ruminant sources, and not from human sources.
Is it fair to say that there's a?
I mean, I guess my point is that yeah, it's still there, and yes, we've identified what it is, but our solution seems to be putting up signs. I mean, are we interested in water quality, or we just put up signs up? Are we advocating for WRC to do anything about it? Are we using our?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Dean's gonna.
Through the chair, it's a known issue for a lot of streams around the Waikato. Tairua Pauanui does have its own catchment management plan that lists a bunch of activities that landowners, forestry companies, other individuals can do. But it is very much known that after a high rainfall event, you will get wash off from the land and you will get increased levels of fecal bacteria for that period.
Can I just ask, is it fair to say that our statutory obligation is signs and everything else we might do is optional?
Yes, that's correct. Through the working group relationship that we do have, we do work with each other in terms of messaging from officers and also use of our comms channels as well for the programs. So there's a couple of other bits and bobs in there, but yeah, our obligation is as you discussed.
Just a quick one, if I can.
Sorry, just before you do, Terry, I just want to make the observation that there's been some fairly robust conversations between the WRC elected representative who lives in Tairua and WRC, so it's clearly on the radar with WRC.
In WRC, just to give you some clarity around that, Martin, is that they can tell what if it's a possum or if it's a rabbit or something like that through the E. coli and bacteria testing. So it's helping them understand what this is coming from because it's not wastewater at the moment. So, but I think they are got their eye over it. I don't know if they've got it covered.
Thanks, Tim.
Okay. 173 Whangamata.
Yes, well, just a quick comment here. I'm just saying we're producing a master plan, and I thank Mo and Brett for the team for what they're doing so far. And the only Mana stormwater assets are being monitored, so they have some issues around stormwater there, but they're under trade. But
yeah, great. And I guess in context, although it says staff recommend no change, that's probably because of what Mo touched on earlier, that there is an increased activity in this space, and so. It's not like we're saying leave it status quo. We are planning to do things.
Yeah, just before we move on from stormwater, if I can just acknowledge and thank Mo and the team for the work that has been happening around Whirianga and the work that is addressing some legacy issues that we've had there. So really appreciate it.
Mo, I drove Cook Drive in Whirianga the other day, and that's a big project, still ongoing. How long before that's likely to be finished? Must be close. End of June. Boy, it's a big project. Okay. That'll make a big difference. That'll make a huge difference.
If I may add that stage 1, stage 2 is in the LTP because we still have to do the outfall pipe work. That's in a future stage. But 2 legacy projects, Stormont Lane and Cook Drive, will be finished by June.
Thank you.
Great. And page 174 just has some other matters in relation to stormwater that some of them are points that we've noted and passed through the team to look at before we could comment any further. Others, there's obviously comments there, but recommending no change. All right, so moving on to wastewater, we will take you to page 57, resolution 8.
We've already passed a resolution on this, haven't we? Is this the phasing to line up with LTP?
We've discussed it? Have we passed the resolution?
Yeah, we discussed this. This is an out of cycle budget for this year, and it's going to roll into next year too.
That's correct. Yeah. The report that was presented to council did not have the funding phasing in the report, so it needs to be included as a new item in the LTP. That's it. The funding is already approved.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So it's a resolution to get the phasing right. And
if we do, please.
Is that the odour control?
Yes.
It doesn't say odour control in the resolution. It says Pawanui Wastewater Control Project. Does the word odour need to be in there to be clear?
Good point.
Probably.
Can we just clarify that? I think it probably does.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Put it in.
Thank you. So basically looking at resolution 8, adding in the word odour. Mover and seconder, we had Rekha and Terry. All those in favour? Those against? Thank you, that's carried. All right.
Okay, and in the run sheet for Wharekaho and Hahei, I'll hand to Mo. These were issues that we raised in the workshop on the 7th of May, and so it's we had to Mo to table the additional funding that we would be seeking to be put into the LTP for these 2 projects. Yeah, page 70 and no, page 68 and 69.
I'm happy to speak to that. So Wharekaho wastewater and water are 2 capital programs in the 24 to 34 LTP. But before the programs are implemented, we need to consult with the community in terms of their willingness to pay. These 2 projects, some groundwork was done many years ago, but we need to take those reports that were done, feasibility reports a few years ago, just need to tidy them up and then go back to the community and say, this is what it will cost to put this infrastructure in. So some OPEX budget is being requested to tidy up those feasibility reports and consult with the community. The money is being sought over 2 financial years.
Mo, couple of questions. How many properties involved? This is the old part of Wharekaho. How many properties?
I need to check the numbers, Mayor. I don't have the numbers with me at hand, but I can come back to you on that one.
Thank you. And the second question is, we've heard very clearly from this community that they want action on this. We've got 90,000 in there for community consultation. Why is it spread over 2 years? Shouldn't we just do it all in year 1 and get it moving?
2 parts to it. The first one is to get the existing feasibility report tidied up. So just need to look at what needs to be done, put the new numbers in. And once that's done, we need to do some calculations in terms of what the rating impacts will be. That involves working with finance, the designers, in terms of what infrastructure will go into the ground. So that's the first part of it. And the second part is to consult with the community. If it moves faster than what we anticipate, we will come to council and seek to bring that funding forward.
I think we probably need to be signalling that very clearly to the community that we've heard them, and they have an expectation that we will respond to that. And so if we can get messaging back to them, hey, look, we're working on this now, they're going to look at that and say, well, why is it over 2 years? If we can have an answer ready for that, that'd be helpful, I think. So for those from Mercury Bay area, is that a fair assessment that they're really keen to see this moving?
Oh, absolutely. I'm really encouraged by Mo's comments that, you know, once they do look at the design work and what we have, and if this is able to move faster and you know, there potentially could be a request from now to cycle budget and bringing things forward, that's really reassuring. So if this sits over year 1 and 2, my question is really a practical one. When will they first start getting comms from us about this? Or when will the consultation start? End of year 1, start of year 1?
Somewhere between both. So if the feasibility study shows that there isn't much work to be done, and we can complete that assessment, say within the first 6 months of the new financial year, then early in 25, we'll be able to advise the community of what it takes. But if it involves a bit more work, probably the latter half of next financial year. It's a bit early for me to say.
Are we happy then for this council to communicate back to the team, Mo and the team, and Aileen and the team, that this community is concerned, they've sent a message, and that we're working on this, and just keep that comms going?
So first of all, we do, it's not in your budget, so we need a resolution. I think we have draft resolutions. Okay. So that's certainly a signal, and then
do you want to have a look at it first?
But we're getting them up. And so we might take them one at a. Are they 2 separate resolutions?
We need more resolutions like that.
Yeah, it's 1 resolution. No, but is it Wharekaho separate to her? Yeah. So once they get up, we'll.
I think Councillor Grant wanted to second that. You happy to second that? All right, Councillor Grant, second it.
Can I just talk to it a little bit, a bit of clarification? So this is a wastewater activity which is district wide, so that's going across the district. That's fine. Now, but these people have not paid contributions towards their connection. That's the issue out there, isn't it? They didn't pick up DCs.
That's correct, Councillor Morrissey.
That's right. Yeah. So they're going to. So, do we actually, as a district, are we expected to pick up the price for the consultation, or should that actually be part of the or part of the money they're going to have to put towards it, because that's going to impact Coromandel, and I'm just mindful of that. So for clarity, what I'm trying to ask is the cost of the consultation. Should that be sheeted home to the district, or should that be sheeted home to the residents who actually want this connection that have not yet contributed anything towards it.
What have we historically done?
I think if we went to the community and said, we're going to charge you $90,000 for consultation, we would get a short, sharp message back. Here's your consultation. We've told you, and we've been telling you for 30 years. So take your $90,000.
Donna has a.
Yes, so through the chair, it is a district cost, the consultation part of it. We can't pin it on development contributions or anything like that, because that is only for capital for the actual project. So this is no different than in probably every other community where we've done this before. So we've done it in Hahei, we've done it in Cook's Beach, we've done it in Coromandel over the years. So the district has paid as a whole in effect for that consultation part, because it's a district funded activity.
I'm thinking about that.
So district funded for the consultation, and then they'll get a number at some stage and say, right, here's your number for connection. It's going to be, whatever X dollars per household for connection, and that'll be part of the consultation. Have I got that right?
That's correct.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
I'd actually just say that if we're going to do consultation, we should do consultation with everybody that's involved, which would be the residents and ratepayers of Coromandel, Thames, Whangamata. Because you're
Councillor Morrissey.
Okay.
The consultation.
I give up. Go with it. Go with it.
Yeah.
All those in favour? Aye, thank you. You're no kidding.
Okay, we'll get the second resolution that will be similar for Hahei.
So I'm happy to speak to Hahei Wastewater. There are 79 properties around Wigmore Stream who are on septic tanks. They have requested permission to connect to the council network. So we are asking for some OPEX money to complete that consultation process. That design is much more advanced compared to Wharekaho. Feasibility studies completed. All what we need to do is do the rating calculation, which we have already budgeted for to do next year. Once that's done, we will consult with that community on their willingness to pay and connect to the system.
Just one very quick question in regard to it. If they have asked, why do we have to consult?
It's the willingness to pay. They want to know the cost of connection, and they want to work out the economics, because most of them have spent somewhere in the region of $75,000 to $80,000 putting septic tank systems in. And they want to make an economic decision whether it's worth paying the money and connecting to the council system or continue with their septic tanks.
I have a question, if I
Sure,
may,
go
and
ahead.
it's not for today, but I would like to understand this in greater detail in terms of if council goes and does this, what do we put back onto the homeowners in terms of removing or getting rid of their old septic systems and things like that? I'd just like to understand the project fully, but I know that's not a question for today.
Do we have a resolution, Ari? While Ari is doing that, the third, just in the run sheet, the third time Totara Valley comes up again, just want to note, like I noted on stormwater and roading, there's rephasing of that in wastewater.
Could I just ask a question about that while it's out on the board? So we go out to consultation, and I'm just thinking about what happened up at Thornton Bay, where we thought we had the community on board and ran fibre up there, and then all of a sudden, once the fibre was there, nobody said they actually wanted it. So if we go out to consultation and it comes back that, well, either way, actually, the majority of people want it, but some don't, then I guess we'll put the service in and the availability charge will just kick in. Can we force them onto it? We can force them onto it.
If they are within the area of benefit, they will be paying a serviceable charge regardless of whether they are connected to the network.
Right, so we'll ping them with the availability charge.
We are charging them that.
Okay.
Yep.
And if the consultation comes back, and it could very well come back this way, that the majority don't want it, then we just won't proceed with it.
That's correct.
Okay, thanks, mate.
It's a mistake in the resolution. While I would like more money, I think I've been given too much money, so something needs to come off. 25,000 in the second year, it's only 25,000.
Okay, so it's just year one?
Only year one.
Just year, okay, so that table in the report is.
Happy to take it, but I'll say no.
You're on a roll, Mo. Any others that you want to slice and dice and cut? Good on you.
Yeah.
You can stay in that chair as long as you like.
But we just propose $1 million and then cover it to 500, you're happy.
All right. Moved by Reka, seconder. Terry, all those in favour? Thank you. Done. Thank you.
Great. Okay, so continuing on with wastewater, page 175, Mercury Bay matters. 7 people provided feedback. The staff commentary is in the report, and again suggesting no change. 178, Whangamata, 1 piece of feedback in support, and we have no change. And then 179, we had 1, there's some feedback and no change. All right. Moving on to water supply. The 4th time, Totara Valley, just noting the decision you made and the rephasing. Okay, we have a resolution. So I'll take you to page 56. And it's resolution 7.
No, this is Totara Valley.
So this is water supply. Mo, if you want to talk.
In relation to water supply?
Mo, if you just want to talk to the 60,000 in year 1 and the 30,000 in year 2 for Wharekaho water supply.
Sorry,
page 7. Is this the same thing as a consultation?
So for Wharekaho, it's the same as for wastewater. They go hand in hand because both projects are in the LTP, so we'll do both at the same time.
So do you need both lots of money?
Yeah, you need 2 pots of money to do the same thing?
The different designs. One is a water supply design and the other one is a wastewater design, so the calculations will be very different.
The consultation will be the same question. Do you want this or that? Yeah.
Fair. We could do one consultation. Yep, that's a fair point.
Will that slow things up significantly? You've got to understand these things.
If there are any impediments to progress, we will come back to council.
Thanks, Mo.
Thanks,
but we will make it happen.
Thank you.
So just for clarity, we can drop that resolution. What it's written into the report.
We can drop 30,000. We can drop 30,000.
You just need year 1.
I need the 6. Yep, for Wharekaho water, I need the 60 in 24-25, but the 30 in 25-26 can be deleted because we'll do the water and wastewater consultation at the same time.
Okay,
but
so
wastewater stays as it is, the 60 and 30.
I'll share on screen for clarity.
Hayden, are you tracking these? Where are we up to?
Do you just want to check that tomorrow? It is, it's the mouse.
Okay. All right, move up and the seconder, please. Reka and John, please, all those in favour? Thank you.
That is fine, thank you.
Well done.
As much as you love it, it's causing nightmares for our finance team.
They'll cope.
Okay, so page 71. Page 71, and again, Hahei water consultation and Hahei water extension capex. These were raised at the 7th of May workshop, but I'll get Mo to just introduce those projects. They're not in the budget, there'd be resolutions to include them. So Mo, if you start with Hahei water consultation.
Yep, I'm happy to do that. Your Worship and the councillors. The Hahei water supply extension is in the current LTP, but inadvertently it was left from the 24 to 34 LTP. Now the extension was planned after we construct the new production bore, which we have completed. So that's producing 700 cubes a day, which is a very good water supply. And so we can look at extending the Hahei water supply. So what we are asking is for that project to be reinstated in the LTP, and for the money set aside to complete the public consultation process.
To be clear, you're looking for 80,000 in year 2 and 30,000 in year 3 of the LTP.
That's correct. And we will reinstate the LTP program.
Can I just go through the chair? Is this another dual consultation thing?
Unfortunately not.
No.
The different parts of the district, different communities.
Do we have a matching resolution for this? I'm not seeing one.
I was just writing it up now
Okay.
because it was a staff suggested rather than recommendation. It wasn't included in the front list of recommendations.
Could I just ask a question of Mo?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mo, is it normally, I thought if our wastewater plants had reached capacity, we just extended that capacity and we didn't go out to consult on it. It was just a thing that had to happen. What's the difference with this one? Why do we need to consult about increasing the capacity?
This is Hahei water supply?
Is this the water or wastewater we're talking
No,
about?
water supply.
So just
Okay, I can get back into the water then.
to help, the last 4 discussions have all been the same type of discussion. It sounds like water and waste for Wharekaho and water and waste for Hahei. And it's the consultation around connecting to the system. And obviously there'll be charges to that. And so it's why we need to be asking them.
What page are we on?
Page 71.
71.
71, up there. Okay. Oh, I was sorry, I was at the bottom of page 70. Thank you. Okay.
And also, Hahei is very complex because of its 4 different water supplies. So it's a bit of a fraught community in terms of who's willing to pay and who wants to connect.
Yep. The details are at page 67, Councillor Morrissey.
Yeah, no, thanks. I remember the discussion at the council table. So that actual decision we made at the council table last time was based on that group that currently run the water for Hahei, the independent group, their private water supply. So they haven't actually got a mandate from the community yet that everybody wants to be on that. Is that what you're telling me, Mo?
Different parts to it. I think Delhi briefly touched on it. There are different water supply providers in Hahei. So the Hahei Water Supply Association, we've signed an agreement with them that was based on a council resolution. The Grange Road Water Supply, they haven't given us any messages about signing an agreement with council, or they're still going by themselves. This is the parts of the network that are not on council supply, but because we've got enough capacity now, we can extend the network.
Including Grange Road?
Yep.
Thanks, Mo. That helps me understand.
So it'll be Hahei water supply and Grange Road. We've already got the council ones on board. The campground, they're not interested in, or they're not included, are they?
Yeah, this some willingness to connect to the network and some others who want to maintain their own supplies. So we'll navigate through that.
And that's what this consultation will help
Yes.
to address.
Yes, for the ones who want to connect to the
As
council
Delhi said,
network.
it is complicated. Thank you. All right, councillors happy with that? So there's the resolution. So the CapEx is year 4, 27, 28. We need OPEX in year 2 and year 3. We need both of those, Mo?
That's correct, Your Worship. The first one is to reinstate the capital program and the second one is the OPEX to complete the consultation.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
I'm comfortable with that. Delhi, John, thank you. So moved by Councillor Connell, seconded by Councillor Grant. All those in favour? Thank you. Mo, you're on a roll.
So we've done the water.
It's all done. So
Okay.
now solid waste.
No, just before we go on to solid waste, just wanted to go through the local water supply feedback for Thames at page 180.
180.
180. Any other comments there? Mercury Bay, the 7 people provided feedback on local issues at Mercury Bay on page 181. A number of them relating to Hahe and Wharekaho. 183 Whangamata. Just one bit of feedback from Whangamata.
Can I just ask where we're at with Whangamata water meters? Are they still sitting in a shed somewhere or are they being installed?
The meters have been purchased and work will carry on from the next financial year. So we brought the metering program forward so we can continue with the meter installations.
And we've budgeted for the installation costs?
That will be subject to tender pricing.
Okay. And so they are behind Whitianga, aren't they?
That's correct. We bought all the meters at the same time, but Whitianga was the first off the block, followed by Whangamata.
Is there any unbundling in Whangamata or not?
Lots.
There is, okay.
It's
I
more
think
than
there's 300
Whitianga.
something illegal
Yep.
connections. So
Yep.
Alrighty, okay. Bloody Whangamata people.
And then just
Okay.
moving on to just some general feedback from about eight people on page 184. If there are no additional questions or comments on that feedback, we're recommending no changes. We'll move on to solid waste.
Thank you. Right,
Thank you, Mr.
I'm going to excuse myself for 2 minutes. You want to just carry on with that one?
Mo would like to make some initial statements on solid waste.
This is in relation to the construction of the new Whitianga refuse transfer station. I do have a concept design. If anyone wants to see it, you can put it up on the screen. You can see what the new one looks like. So Ari can bring it up on screen. You can look at a picture. And then I'll take you through the process of the project costs and the funding and so on and so forth before we deliberate on it. So that's a draft design of the new Whitianga refuse transfer station. So that's Moiwai Road. I'll need to carry this. I think I might be able to carry this around. Yeah, I'll carry this around. So That's Moibai Road, and that's the piece of land that's proposed for the Mercury Bay Resource Recovery Center, and that's the new Whitianga RTS, the site. So the entrance is off Moibai Road, and there'll be a 24-hour after drop-off service. We're also installing 2 weighbridges, so that was some of the questions that got asked before. The current site has only 1 weighbridge. That is the rubbish processing building, and that's the location of a new compactor, so it will be compacted rubbish, and I'll explain a little bit later why the compactor had to be put back in. And then there's glass bunkers and commingled glass. We'll try and reuse some of the material from the existing RTS in terms of bunker blocks, just to keep the costs down. And the program for this is to go to tender sometime in August, late August, for construction tenders. And then the work will be done over 2 financial years. And the design is progressing well. We've got a good team on board. So it's a very quick overview. Also, we're liaising with the Mercury Bay Resource Recovery Trust in terms of their involvement and providing them a service platform. So those discussions are happening as well.
Mo, can I ask where those defenders were they put in that I was talking about removing?
I think there's somewhere here.
Over there.
Yeah.
Mo, if I was to arrive after hours and wanted to, dump cardboard or bottles and things, can you do that without having to go into the whole complex?
Yes, you can come here, go there, drop your stuff and leave.
Oh, okay, good.
Yes.
Thanks, Mo. Looks good.
Thank you, Rika. So just a couple of points I would like to make in terms of the project costs, and there has been some confusion and some errors. So the draft 2434 LTP, the capex figure of 9.4 million that went out for public consultation is incorrect. It should have been 9.9 million as reported to council in October 23. With the inflation adjustment, it would have taken it to 10.3. That's the number that should have been in the LTP, and the error is regretted. And that estimate was based on a concept. Since then, a lot of work has been done to develop the design. And based on the preliminary design completed to date, the estimated project cost, and repeat estimated, nothing has been spent, is sitting at 11.1 million uninflated or 11.5 with the inflation. And the difference in cost, the true difference in cost is about $1.2 million. And I'll tell you in a minute why that has happened. And I'll also discuss about the MFE funding for this project, which will probably cover almost half of it. So the reasons for the difference in cost between the original amount and where the current design stands, the first one is the reinstatement of the rubbish compactor. In the October report to council, the rubbish compactor was excluded, and it was talked about transporting uncompacted rubbish. That goes against council's policy on carbon footprint. Because if we transport uncompacted rubbish, we will have more truck movements than transporting compacted rubbish. And it's a much tidier site, having a compactor in place. So that's been put back. And the compactor was already pre-purchased. Even before the project reset happened, there were a lot of materials that were purchased and kept in store. The weighbridges, the compactor, and I will touch on the other one a little bit later, which is the kiosk. So that's the first one. The second one is there was more accurate calculations on the earthworks, because there's designs now, there's levels, ground levels, and so on and so forth. So it's a better estimate of earthworks. We've needed to install overhead sprinklers in the rubbish building because it's a closed building and there's a potential for people to dispose anything, including the likes of lithium batteries. Could be anything. And if it catches fire, it needs to have a health and safety protection. We are already providing fire hydrants, but overhead sprinklers are provided as an added precaution.
Is that in the resource recovery
Yes.
building that you're talking about?
The main
building?
The main building, yep.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Then we have also got the revised pricing from PowerCo for the new transformer. The site needs a new transformer. There isn't enough grant on site to run any of the services. So they have provided, it's almost adjacent to the existing transformer, but it needs a new transformer for the power supply.
Can I ask a question, Mo, around the PowerCo, is that supplied or is we pay for that?
We pay for the transformer.
We pay for the
Yeah.
transformer.
It's made to order.
Can I ask about the compactor?
Yep.
So that's already purchased?
It was purchased before the reset was done. It was purchased some time ago.
Okay, so is that just sitting somewhere in a provision somewhere?
It's sitting in
accounts
PTM.
or-
It's in the same shed with the dog equipment and the water meters.
Sorry, through the chair, it'll be sitting in work in progress until the asset is completed. If we pay.
Okay, so does it have a, we've already rated for it?
It'll be sitting there, yeah, I guess in terms of, have we actually paid for it, Mike?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, it'll be sitting in WIP and we will be paying loan repayments and interest costs on it, yes.
Okay.
But not depreciation until it's ready for use.
I have one question, Mo, if that's right. If you look at places like Waiheke, all of their rubbish collection trucks are electric. Now, we don't have that capacity at the moment because we're under a waste management contract and, you know, it's their trucks. But is there any provision or future provision in the transformer grant for charging, either on site, whether it's electric forklifts or whatever? Is there any provision in that power capacity for charging?
Good question, Your Worship. I don't know the answer, but I will find out.
Thank you.
I thought, Len, that there was a clause in the contract about electric vehicles, trucks.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
if I'm honest.
I thought there was something in there. Okay, so
So just, can I just, councillors, brief you just on timing? We've got lunches ready. We've got a briefing at 1 o'clock, which we're locked into, so we need to be back from lunch before that. Photos we've got, but Felicity is here and we can do that a bit later on. There's some flexibility in there apparently. So we need to find a natural place to finish this section and then go and have lunch and then be back here for our 1 o'clock briefing.
Great. So I think the natural space will be at the end of solid waste, and that actually brings you to the end of what we've put on the table for you. We will have to come back to the building one before we wrap up report 2, which we can do first thing after lunch. So if we finish solid waste, break for lunch, come back after, whenever you come back, do the building one, that finishes report 2. Then we've got report 3 and 4, which I don't anticipate too much discussion on. So if you're happy with that, we've got a resolution for what Mo just discussed. It's on page 56. We're just checking it. All right, we might actually park that resolution to after lunch because we are, what Mo's asking for is the additional money. We just need to split that out over year 1 and year 2 because the resolution reads that it's not split out. So we will just work on that and we can bring that back with the building resolution. So just if we quickly move through those last 3 points, Whangatau Resource Recovery, page 187.
Yeah, it's up obviously for rating review. This group's ready to go when we are. So just something that needs to be considered.
Great. We received on the new collection system, 9 people provided feedback on page 188. There are some commentary there. Staff aren't recommending any changes. It's whether you want to have a Madam, how?
So we do need to change on page 188. The staff are taking report to the risk insurance. That date's moved out, as I understand it.
Well, 233rd day of May 24 is.
Well, that might be accurate.
Is it accurate? Okay. So we received feedback and staff will be bringing a report to risk and assurance at some point. Okay. So if you don't need to discuss any further, 189 was 6 pieces of feedback, staff commentary next to it, and not recommending any change. So your worship, if you're happy there, we'll bring, when we reconvene, we'll bring those 2 resolutions back. I'm scared to suggest this, but after that, it is the end of your chance to touch activities and budgets. I need to invite you to, if there's anything else we haven't covered that you wish to raise, that would be the time. Otherwise, we'll end up getting to the final resolution in that report and closing that report out. So if you're happy to break now, then.
Have we missed anything, folks? All right, we'll take a break. Before we do, we're going to close off the recording session, please, and then invite Aileen to give us a bit of a briefing, but we need to do this once we've closed off, please.